Erev Tov Chaverim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Very serious situation happening in Ukraine. It is being reported on both sides of the aisle. We have Western media, we have Russian media, we have Ukrainian media, we have the Donetsk People's Republics, their media, all saying a different story, a different scenario about what is about to occur on the border near Russia with Ukraine. And of course, Basurin, the representative for the Donetsk People Republic, military representative there, he really came out in a video today and laid it on the line. Really, it's kind of interesting. My wife Yana came in, she listened to the video, we went into it in detail, going into every aspect. This is the video right here, which I'll play a clip of this for you guys. But at any rate there, Mr. Basurin states in this video here, he's making a warning to Poroshenko, to the military soldiers that are under his command, even saying to them that they should disobey the commands of Poroshenko, that this is not in any way helping the Ukrainian people. He said that we are all Ukraine and that Poroshenko is not a valid government. But instead, he said, he lets them know, speaking to their hearts, think of your families, think of your children. He said, do you really think this is going to accomplish anything coming here? He said, you have come here to provoke Russia. And that was one of the very interesting comments that he makes in this, is that he's saying that they are provoking Russia by coming there to Donbass, which Mariupol is where he's talking about, that the Ukrainian government has brought a tremendous amount of troops to that region there. And not only that, he speaks too in this this video here about the British, and I'll just share that with you here. We'll jump back over here. It's in the, someone did this article here, Donetsk News Agency. They actually show in here where he talks about a couple of things here I'll just bring out, where we urge the OSCE SMM to pay attention to the ongoing military preparations at the frontline area. When military actions renew, you won't be able to say you were unaware of it. This is something that the military advisor Basurin states here. He says that the DPR intelligence reported British military experts' arrival in Ukraine-occupied Amasses to prepare chemical attacks in the DPR, Donetsk People's Republic is what that stands for, north that Kiev developed a plan to carry out a sabotage act on the Sterol plant to deflect DPR forces and penetrate the DPR territory. So it's kind of interesting to see that we're seeing a very similar situation like what we saw in Syria. Once again, United Kingdom forces, their special operations are coming inside another country to provocate a chemical weapons attack. And of course, chemical weapons attack will also bring about a NATO force involvement, because they will say that this should not be happening, that they're going to have to deal with the situation. In this, in the video, he does break down in details the forces that Ukraine has brought to Mariupol. By the way, just so you can see a bird's eye view of this, in Mariupol, this is right here on the Sea of Azov. This is Mariupol region right here. We have Donetsk right here. And there's just the Donbass region, they only come within 15 kilometers of the border of Russia. They hold this area right here. But the Ukrainian government has come here, specifically coming near to the border of Russia, as a provocation, trying to draw the Russians into combat. And Russia, too, is definitely making preparations for this battle. They know they're being provoked. And, of course, my theory is that the provocation of Russia is to get Russia quagmired into a battle with Ukraine, so that when Israel, the United States, and Saudi Arabia take on Iran and Lebanon, Russia will be too busy dealing with the Ukrainian crisis and will have depleted a lot of their resources and fighting one front already, and then to have to turn around and deal with another front would be very difficult. And no doubt that may end up paying off for Russia in the long run. But anyway, going back to the article here that they show on here, The Ukrainian government has moved up to 12,000 troops. Its concentration along the contact line outside of Novotrodotsky, and named some other names here which are out of my pronunciation range. 50 tanks, 40 MLRSs, 180 artillery pieces, and mortars and dozens of MLRS Smerch systems was relocated to this area around Mariupol. 500 troops AE in standby status. The plan is in the morning of December the 14th. The artillery preparations will be followed by an offensive. 128th and 79th Brigades moving from Grantinoy, Shurinkino line towards Klinkino to reach the DPR border by December 15th by nightfall. So that's what the plan is. This is what they have uncovered in their intelligence operations. And which another thing too I just share with you as well, something I caught on RT, was that Poroshenko, when he was doing a photo op with his paratroopers, oddly enough, on the very chest of one of his paratroopers was the Nazi symbol there, which was part of the Nazi paratroopers there, and that's called the SS insignia. Says here on here, looking at, Petro Poroshenko has met in the country's elite troops, paratroopers, ahead of their redeployment to bolster the partial martial law state. One of the soldiers openly sported an insignia of the Waffen SS division. Just let you know, this is one reason why, even though this particular Mr. Basurin was making a plea to the military soldiers of Ukraine not to obey the orders of Poroshenko, he has got so many neo-Nazis that are backing Poroshenko that he's got enough people that are not going to listen. They are very much anti-Russian, willing to do ethnic cleansing, and to follow along with the NATO agenda to drive out every aspect of Russia from this region here, and to safeguard the Monsanto lands that have been purchased by Monsanto to grow the death crops to feed to the European population, and to cut out Russia as the provider of much of its produce that brings in from Russia. So that's part of the plan. Also, the Russian Ministry of Defense has published an article. They are, like I said, majorly preparing for a possible conflict that they may have to back up the DPR. And says crews of the Su-25SM on the Southern Military District in the Kuban started training flights. They're doing maneuvers, low altitude. This, of course, is down near the Ukrainian border, preparing for dealing with evading missile defense shields, how to take them out, tactical operations they're working on there. Also, the satellite images that are coming out right now, photos reveal buildup of Russian forces on the Ukrainian border. Now, you got to keep in mind, the images that they're showing right here, this is actually a Russian military base that is near the Ukrainian border. It's always been there. We reported about this about 4 years ago when a lot of heavy fighting was going on at that time. But there is one thing that's interesting in the satellite photo, and that is the buildup of the extra tanks right here. A lot of this military equipment that you see in this location here, I've reported on many times before. So I was very much aware of the military base that Russia has there. And of course, we can kind of zoom in on some of the satellite photos there, especially this one here. That's a close-up view of just one row of the tanks there. And of course, it's double. So you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, right on down. You're probably looking at close to 100 tanks sitting there, getting ready for a major war with Ukraine. Also, if we back up on that image right here, Russia also on their airfield, and of course I'm very much aware of the airfield as well, a lot of activity there with their big IL-76. It's kind of like a C-130 for the U.S., but bigger than a C-130. Cargo plane there that brings in paratroopers and other types of military equipment, etc., that can come in. They've got 3 of those that are sitting on the runway down there. So Russia certainly getting ready for a possible defensive measure for the DPR Donetsk People Republic, as well as Luhansk region and even Crimea, because who knows what could happen next there. So we're kind of watching all these situations here to see which way that's going to go. And of course, it's not looking very good at all. Turning our attention towards Israel right now, there was a terrorist attack earlier, I think it was today or yesterday, that came out. There was a drive-by shooting at a bus stop there, and I can give you the images of this right here. They're showing the image of the drive-by shooting right here. As the Palestinian guy goes by, he starts shooting the people at the bus stop there. 7 people were wounded, including the 21-year-old mother, who doctors had to do a premature birth, premature delivery for the child. The child is, of course, being a preemie. The mother is in critical condition. Doctors said that she's not completely out of danger as of yet. But again, of course, terrorism is alive and well in Israel. That's in both sides. There's been 200 people, I think, killed down at the Gaza border since the protests that started there several months back. And of course, there is retaliations and counter retaliations, both sides there. But it certainly does not help matters in a situation like this. So our thoughts, prayers go out to this mother for her, that she'll recover and be able to raise her child. But at any rate there, one other thing too I thought was interesting, the Times of Israel was reporting Iran said to arrest over 100 Christians in a crackdown on conversions. Now the article states that Iran is tolerant to the Christian community, but for those that are leaving Islam, there is a punishment to be paid for that. Now, as we've mentioned before, Iran has more than 1 million Christians in the nation of Iran right now. And so as I saw this on the Times of Israel, I kind of thought it kind of an odd type of article to come out. And the reason I say that is because Israel is not much different. Israel also tolerates the Christian community, but Israel also does not like proselyting. They do not allow proselyting in their country. And there is a price to pay in Israel as well if you do so, such as the Hyde family. Ariel Hyde himself is facing a stripping of his citizenship because of his trying to win souls to Christ. An amazing young man. Also his mother. They have targeted his mother for stripping her of her citizenship and throwing the entire family out of the country. That's just one of many cases the Israeli government has come after Israelis who end up becoming believers, especially when they begin to try to win souls for the sake of Yeshua. That is the big major no-no, and those are the families that are targeted as well. So what Iran is doing is exactly the same thing that many in the Israeli government do as well. So it's kind of like the pot calling kettle black. We know the meaning behind that, right? Anyway, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Yeah, I guess I did talk fast today. So anyway, blessings to you. Don't forget, stand with the broadcast, support the broadcast. We do want to bring you the latest things as they're breaking, and the situation there in Ukraine is not a good situation. I'm Steve Ben-Nun. Also, don't forget, guys, we will be in Portland, Oregon, along with L.A. Marzulli and my wife, speaking there on January 18th through the 20th. That's a 3-day conference. Starts actually Friday evening. L.A. Marzulli will start the conference off, goes through the entire weekend. And myself, my wife, will be speaking on both days. There are, if you want to register, there are packages in the pricing here. I don't quite understand all of this, but perhaps maybe we'll be able to get Bonnie on with us to explain this, maybe do a little short video about this, how this works, and share that on Israeli News Live on our website as well, so to make it a little bit simpler how the prices work. But if I understand correctly, everything is a weekend package. So I won't go into too much details on this, but you get weekend passes for like whatever, depending from $50 to $110. That's based on a single person, a couple, and then a family. I think the family is $110, includes the parents as well as the children. If you coming as an individual, it's $50 for the whole weekend. That's what the cost is involved. You can also include meals during your stay there if you want to eat at the premises. But I'm also have been told there are hotels nearby. There is restaurants nearby, depending on how you prefer to do this yourself. They have lodging. You have a riverfront lodge, woodland cabins, and a bunkhouse as well. All these things are there at the facility. It is like a nature campground where we're doing the conference at. So we hope that you'll be there. There is very limited seating at this conference. So regardless of which way you choose, whether you're going to be there on site or if you're going to be staying in a hotel nearby, definitely get your tickets now. They won't be there long. I think there's a max capacity of 250 people. And I'm sure between LA and myself, my wife and everything, that the place will probably book completely up in a very short period of time. So don't wait. Book now while you have a chance. Again, the website, soldiersofthelion.com. It will be in the description below the video right there. soldiersofthelion.com. Shalom, shalom in a world of Ein Shalom. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live.